Hey, we're back here with Kayja from Forward, Montana. Please, you're here to talk to us about the school bond that's happening. We're going to have you guys on for Mondays leading up until the election in November, but of course people are getting their ballots. I think it's like at a week from now, right?
Yeah.
So please tell us about this. Tell us what your involvement with this bond is.
Great. So I'm the executive director at Forward Montana, and we're a group to train, mobilize, and elect the next generation of leaders. So we do a lot to get young people involved in politics. So what we're doing at Forward Montana is helping high school students and recent graduates of the public school system advocate for these bonds, advocate for their own fully funded public education. And these are students that know what it's like to go to school here. They know about the slow internet. They know what it's like to have to wear coats in the winter in the class or to be extremely hot because one of the boilers is overacting. They know exactly why we need these bonds. And so we're working to get them out talking to the voters of Missoula to be able to really articulate why we need these bonds and to have that empowering experience of advocating for their own education.
Oh, that's like the smartest thing to do.
Yeah.
Use the youth. That's perfect.
Yeah.
And so how are they doing that? Are they like going out in packs and talking to people, or are they just like going door to door? How's that happening?
Yeah, so for example, yesterday we had a street canvas called Bond, School Bond, Bond-themed Bond
Nice,
Knock.
nice.
And so we had about 20 people, a bunch of them teenagers or early 20-somethings that were just going exactly like you said, door to door, knocking on people's doors and saying, hey, I just graduated from Hellgate High School, and let me tell you a little bit about what it's like to go to school there and why these bonds are so necessary.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And it's good that you're using some of the students who went to these schools who have lived with this, like who have to wear the coats during the winter and all that stuff. But one of my questions is, I'm assuming that there's a lot of people asking this question, why don't we just put the money into replacing the spoiler at Hellgate High School and just do the major stuff rather than just do like an overhaul?
Yeah. Well, there's so many different needs, and this one's going to be hitting like major infrastructure things that we haven't addressed for a really long time, major technology investments like the internet, which is incredibly slow, like dial-up speeds at a bunch of the schools, as well as overcrowding and safety concerns. And I think the district felt like coming back to voters again and again and saying, hey, you just gave us a little bit of money for this thing last year, but now we need a little bit more for this other thing, was less efficient. And this way they can do one big planning process, one big building, design, everything process, so that we're getting it all taken care of in a single chunk, rather than trying to do it piece by piece and not knowing if each piece was going to pass, or maybe getting into the situation where you were going to have to redo something that you had already done. So this way I think is more efficient. It's a good big picture planning process that they went through to get us to this point.
So would you say that this is better than doing a bunch of short-term solutions over the course of, like, let's say 20 years, and then just doing this all within like 5-year span?
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to try to take care of all of these major issues in a single blow, and really get our schools up to the standards where they should be for students to have a 21st century education.
And then so over how many years is this bond expected to?
They're 20-year bonds,
20 years.
But they're hoping to get most of the construction done within, I think, the first 6 years.
Great.
And what is the additional years going to be geared towards? Like, once all the construction is done, is there going to be a chance for this bond to maybe even be like, okay, we don't need the money anymore, or something like that?
I mean, I think theoretically things could come in under cost, and I'm not an expert on that side of things, so I don't know exactly how that works. But really, it's like you try to do a lot of the work up front, but then you're still paying that off for, over the course of 20 years, so that it's a lower tax burden every single year.
Yeah. Okay, so so for some of the people who don't already know, what is this bond for?
So it is for all of the elementary, middle, and high schools in Missoula County Public School System. And that's part of what's so special about it, is it is a comprehensive bond that covers every single school. So every school in the district is going to get some kind of improvement. Almost all of them are going to get some sort of major infrastructure improvement and some major technology improvement. A lot of them are going to get reconfigured, for security reasons, reconfigured layouts, so that, like right now, for instance, at Hellgate, people can come in a bunch of different doors without ever going to the front office. So like reconfiguring that so that when you come in, you see the front office, somebody's there checking you in, making sure you should be at school.
Right, because there's been some scenarios where where I do after school programs, I walk into the school and sometimes it's like, okay, I have to walk quite a distance to get to the front desk or that kind of thing. And they've totally adjusted a lot of them. They make like makeshift like desks for the front door, and they've been MCPS has been really good about locking pretty much every single door, making it somewhat difficult for me to get into school and be like, all right, let's...
Well, it also makes it easier for, like, the kids to not leave school whenever they want to.
Right,
Because,
right.
I mean...
Somebody's, keeping an eye on the door.
Yeah, so they're staying in school. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
But, of course, my next question is, with an ever-growing population that is Missoula, what is some of the relief to this bond in terms of money that people could expect? Because you have all these new neighborhoods that are popping up, all these new kids that are coming into schools, and then like with more houses being built, there's like more like it spreads out the tax base. So what would you say in terms of like relief in terms of that in the future?
Yeah, well, so first of all, I should say the growing population is part of the reason for the bonds too, that a lot of the schools are already over capacity. They have those mobile trailer units outside where kids are having to go to class. And so we think the property tax burden of this whole thing is going to be about $16 a month on a $200,000 house. I don't know exactly how that works when new homes when a home is purchased, you carry that tax burden with you. I'm not sure exactly how it works with new construction. I assume those people are also on the hook for this, as they should be, because it benefits our entire community.
Right.
And is part of the reason that people are moving here is because they trust our school system.
Yeah, it's a huge thing. So where can people find more information?
Yes, for MissoulaSchools.com is a great place. MCPS also has information about what's going to happen to every single school on their website.
Right.
And
So
Missoulians-
mcpsmt.org, and they have like 5 or 6 different links to this website and more information. You can find out everything. Even they have like the whole, I guess the bond language. It's already released for everyone to see. So if you want to look at it and see where the money's going to, there it is.
Exactly. And the Missoulian is now running a series about the bond. So they started on Sunday. There's a whole layout, and you can find it online too, that also lays out like every single school, and then they'll be covering, I believe, every day a couple different schools, so people can read more in depth about their neighborhood school or schools that they're interested in to find out exactly what this looks like on the ground.
Great, that's awesome. It's a nice community involvement and a good push for it. Great.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to tell us before we let you go?
I don't think so, except that if people want to get out there and talk to their neighbors about voting for the bond, you should check out Forward Montana. We'll be out knocking doors the rest of this fall, and would love to have more volunteers talking to their neighbors about why these bonds are so important.
Great.
Yeah, well, thank you.
So much.
So that was Kayja Booker from Forward, Montana. And if you see her pink bunnies running around, be nice.
Be nice. Thank you.
Thank you.